Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm not a big fan of court packing. I'm not a big fan of saying we're just going to add X number of them. But I'm going to listen.
He's waved a white flag on life. He doesn't leave his basement. This guy doesn't leave his basement.
You know, everything is at stake, from the environment to our health. You heard what his chief of staff... Well, that's what I'm talking about, the environment, climate change.
Joe Biden, as you know, is a corrupt politician. They've known that for a long time.
The country is at an inflection point. The way every single one of us votes right now is going to determine the future for a long time, not just for 4 years, but well beyond that.
He's a pathetic candidate, I will tell you that.
Thank God for that. We are into the final stretch. We are a week away. 1 week from today. Now, over 5 million people have already voted. But the good news is we are a week away. A week away of not having to watch 5,000. I never thought I'd say this, watching sports, but where are the ED commercials? It's like, where all I get is 5,000 commercials for candidates, for props. I'm over it. We've been inundated. Negative news after negative news. No positive news. Somewhere along the line, 25, 30 years ago, we stopped being the people that wanted to show you my beliefs, my ideals. They trump, for lack of a better term, your ideals. Not that your ideals are bad, but let me show you there's a better way to do something. Now it's, I suck way less than that guy. And while I may be corrupt, I'm less corrupt. Oh, God. Final countdown. I am excited. I am pumped. But we have a week. We have a week. And it's really weird because you're trying to figure out, what exactly does this week look like? What exactly is this going to be? Is it going to be a week of chaos, craziness? Is it going to be a week of much of what we've seen over the last several weeks, which is Trump goes somewhere, media yells at him for people not wearing masks. We look at the polls. He's down by X, Y, and Z, depending on the states. And then we move on, and Joe does his, totally carefully planned, and everything that he does, limited time, limited, here I am, blah, 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 blah. Quick thing, bounce out of there. Or are we going to get something else that's exciting? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is this is the final week. This is the home stretch. This is it. Trump has some ground to make up. Don't pretend that he doesn't. So many people out there are pretending like he is. You guys have no idea. The groundswell is massive. And I will admit, look, if I'm going to do the eyeball test, the eyeball test is this. I see way more Trump supporters than I do Biden supporters. But it doesn't mean that that's a real thing. A lot of people out there are quiet on both sides. How big is that quiet swell? How big is that? Is it huge, right? Is there a lot of Trump supporters that are very quiet that we have completely underestimated? Are there a lot of Biden supporters, or at least Trump haters, that won't vocalize it, but they're just over it and they're ready to move on? It's a possibility as well. But we're a week away. Now, I don't know if we're going to get anything on the night. I'm assuming. I am hoping. Yesterday our buddy Jim Kennedy from the Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, he says, Chad, what do you think? He texts me. He says, what do you think? He goes, give me a number. Give me a percentage of what you think we'll get on the night, of whether or not we'll get a winner. I said, I think it's 60-40 we get a winner on the night. I do. I think it's 60-40 we get a winner. But there's a lot of ground that Trump has to make up, and there's a lot of places that Biden has to solidify between now and next Tuesday.
President Trump campaigns in 3 states today, making stops in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, all states he won in 2016. The president this week is ramping up his outreach to voters. His campaign planning stops in nearly a dozen states and up to 11 rallies in the final 48 hours before Election Day. He also gets a boost from the First Lady. Melania Trump holds her first campaign event of this cycle, an event today in Pennsylvania.
Does that help? I don't know. I don't know if that really helps anything. What I do know, though, is everything's close. And it's tightened. Now, the one thing that's different between 2016, and I always have to explain this to everybody, is because people think that it's just a repeat and that this is what it's going to look like. Let me give you a quick snapshot. In 2016, the tide had turned. Even if you go look at the polls in 2016 and you follow them, here's how the tide turned. Within those final 10 days, he was absolutely gaining ground like you could not believe. And it was happening fast. It was. The other night I was watching the football game. I don't know if anybody of you guys saw this, and you haven't. Just out of pure athletic ability and insanity, go watch it. A guy by the name of Buda Baker, great player, super fast, caught a ball, intercepted it, and took off, and it looked like he had an easy touchdown. And another guy by the name of DK Metcalf, who I believe is a cyborg, chased him down to the point at one time he was going 22.9 miles an hour with full equipment on and caught him. Buda Baker said, in my entire life, I have never been hawked where somebody caught me. That happened in 2016. You could see it start to happen. You could see that Trump was gaining. Now, a lot of the pollsters had it where, it had gone from 8 points to 6 points, where she still had 1 or 2 points, but it happened quickly. It's not happening at the same rate of speed. It isn't. Trump was so far behind in some of these places that the buildup is to catch them. I don't know. I don't know if he has it. I don't know. And you got 65 million people, give or take, that have already voted. That's massive, including places like Texas, where Texas is setting records for COVID, but it's also setting records for voting. And the reality is Arizona and Texas, very much red states in so many ways, have now got a little purple in them.
Would be so energizing, so catalytic for the voters of Texas, especially Latino voters. And again, in the most voter-suppressed state in the country, you're already seeing record turnout. And so much of that is fueled by black voters and Latino voters and voters in communities of color, precisely the ones that we're turning out today with the Texas Organizing Project. So this is Biden's state to lose, and we are doing our part here in Texas. We would love to see Joe Biden come down here as well.
I'll say this. If the Republicans lose Texas, and it's going to be a battleground state, it'll be tough for them ever to win the White House again. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm going to say that right this second. And states like Texas and Texas and Arizona may be a little different. They may be going blue in the federal side and stay red on the inside. That's a possibility. But if Trump was to lose Texas, and I still think he'll pull it out, but he can't lose. He's got to win Pennsylvania. He's got to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. 2 of the 3 of those. 2 of the 3 of those he must win if he wants a path to victory. Is that there? It's possible. All I know is we have a week. And then we'll see. 1 week after this, we will see. It may take a while to get everything sorted out. I don't think it will. I do believe in my heart that on the night we are going to know the results. I just there's no reason. We're going to know the results. There's no way. I just would find it absolutely insane that we don't. You've got 64 million ballots or so that have been counted. By the end of the day, we'll be in the 70 million range, I'm assuming. By the time we go to vote on the day, we may be nearing 100 million ballots. Think about that. It's 130 million that voted last time. Trump may get more votes and lose. He may get the same amount and win. He may get boat raced. He may beat Biden big. I don't know. But I just know we have a week left. And to all of us out there who've been through this, I remember like 2 years ago when people started announcing they were getting into this thing, right? You had the young kid Mayor Pete Buttigieg getting into this thing. People are like, who the hell's this? Right? Other people throwing their hats in the ring. And then reluctantly Joe got in it. But you're still like, we're 365 days away from even the conventions. And then there was this person getting into it and that person. And then lo and behold, it got to the point where we're having real debates. But we had so many, so only a few could get up there. And then slowly but surely, we started to see these people wither away. And then we got to the point where, Clyburn came and he saved Biden. He got the momentum. He got the push. And along the way, we got COVID. Everything began to get weird and bizarre. And how's this going to work? Then we had unrest. And all the while, it kept going along. Lo and behold, we're a week away now. We're a week away. And I still don't think there's any clear, real, confident people that think this is going to be the people who understand it, people who read it, people who look at the polls, people who get it. Like both sides they've got some delusion on both sides. But I can tell you this. I've talked to several people in the Biden camp, and they're all pressing harder because they worry about some sort of late surge that catches them out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Pumped, excited, a week. Man, it's like, people say, is it like Christmas for you? And I'm like, I don't, it's exhausting is what it is at times. It is. But, Producer Anthony and I talked about this today. We just wanted to get here. It's like, when the Super Bowl, you got the Super Bowl week, right? So you have the week before the week of, and they don't do anything. And then they travel there and they have a week of practice and you've got all the other stuff. And then that Sunday, the shows start at 7 in the morning and the kickoff's not till like 5:22 p.m. And you wait. I just want to get to where I feel like that's where we're at now. We're at that early morning thing, waiting for the kickoff, waiting for the pregame shows. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Plans start as low as $99 a month. It's pretty much a no-brainer. Now, I tell everybody, here's what you need to do. Just don't willy-nilly it. You call 800-CAR-6000, use code Benson, saves you 10%, and you tell them exactly what you're looking for. Car's a little bit older? Well, what do you want to do? You want to make sure that your engine and your transmission's protected. Your car's a little newer. You got a ton of electronics. Maybe you're worried about the sensors and things of that nature. They've got a plan that's right for you. You choose the plan specific to the needs that you have when it comes to your vehicle. They get them covered. Again, plans start as low as $99 a month. And it's that simple. 800-CAR-6000, promo code Benson. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use the promo code Benson to save yourself 10%. Be specific, and I'm telling you, they'll take care of all the needs you have. Take it anywhere you want to take it. 800-CAR-6000, promo code Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
I now ask Justice Thomas to administer the oath.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And like that, Handmaid's Tales. Oh, that's what it's totally about. COVID going on, right? We're going to have some sort of theocracy. Yeah. So that's it. Handmaid's Tale. Everybody get ready for it. Those of you who can reproduce. It's just so crazy. Watching people freak out last night, I was like, what do you think she's going to do? Well, I think that she's only going to lead with her religious beliefs, or she's evil. Like, you don't even, like, you think she has no scruples that she was just put here as the Supreme Court justice for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she is just going to destroy everything? Is that it? Because we don't even give people a chance anymore. How many times have you seen Gorsuch and Kavanaugh? They've ruled against Trump. Well, that's impossible. Well, they have. They have. We think somehow that it's magically now 6-3. Realistically, it's 5.5 to 3.5. Because I do believe Chief Justice Roberts he's new Kennedy. He's what he is. He is. And he's very much down. Everybody needs to breathe. I know we don't anymore. We see something, we freak out, we take it to the worst possible place, that she's going to overturn everything, as if she gets to go into the court tomorrow and just start picking cases. I'm picking this one. In fact, I'm suing myself and taking it to the Supreme Court. Just settle down.
The oath that I have solemnly taken tonight means at its core that I will do my job without any fear or favor, and that I will do so independently of both the political branches and of my own preferences.
Yeah, I think she'll be fine. I will. I will say I think she's going to be fine. Everybody needs to take a deep, deep breath. It's just so amazing. We were a very reactionary society. We see something, we never really figure out the context. We don't ask any real questions. We make a knee-jerk reaction because of something that somebody said on the internet or something you read without going deeper. And then based on all of that, we will form our opinions. We will stand on those opinions, and we will shout from the top and never really say, well, hold on a second. Maybe it's not all that it's cracked up to be. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. We got Scary Movie number 4 in Chad's big countdown. Plus, SNL did something funny that is so very true. We'll talk about that. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, it's tough because we have no national response. It's always been all year the states on their own, and with the federal government providing useful and important backup support for manufacturing of PPE and ventilators, but it was never enough. We needed the full force of the federal government. And, you heard Mark Meadows over the weekend say there's no national plan. It's basically business as usual, essentially leaving it up to the states, and then many states in turn are leaving it up to the individuals to make their own decisions. So it's a scary scenario.
How dare you leave it up to individuals in a world of liberties to make up their own mind on the coronavirus? Here's the way it should be. You leave it up to the states. What can the feds do with testing, which I think they've failed at? I'll say that. I think in some states they got it right. In other states they got it wrong. Ventilators, we pumped out enough ventilators. Could we have done more? Yeah, we could do more. Should still probably be doing some. But at the end of the day, they pushed ahead with that. I think when it comes to, where Trump never gets any credit is the push for vaccines and therapeutics. Everybody's like, well, he's really pushing hard on some of these CEOs. Yeah, because that's what you do. You push hard. You absolutely push hard. You don't stop pushing. Get it done. Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution. So I've got zero problems with that. Peter Oates there, who's a scientist, talks about, well, we left it to the states. We don't have a national plan. What's the, can Biden come in? I think a lot of people, and it's weird because it has that very reminiscent feeling of, remember when Obama got elected and a lot of people thought, oh, I don't have to pay my mortgage anymore. So you're like, what? What is it? that Biden becomes president and that on January 21st, this goes away. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And by the way, he's got, at that point in time, he's playing with house money because there'll probably be at least 2 vaccines and a few therapeutics. And he could say, look, I eradicated it all. No, that was the Trump administration. That you can blame him for all kinds of stuff. Yesterday, on my local show, Cher was in town and she was, pushing out all the plans that Joe had. Joe didn't have a plan. He didn't have a much different plan than what Trump has. Maybe taking more active role in testing. I'm fine with that. But outside of that, what? I mean, tell me. Some federal funds. Half the time we allocate funds, we don't even use these funds the way that we should. So what's he going to do that's that much different? Well, he left it to the states. That's what you do. The beauty of us, our democratic republic, is each state is governed and ran on its own. Your governor, your mayor, right, the county commissioners, the health departments within those cities and counties and the state, they know what's best for your state. Could you imagine if we have this just national, you do this? So at the beginning of this, because New York was what New York was, that the rest of the country shuts down? Well, wait, what? We don't have a one-size-fits-all thing. And I think people need to remember that. Now, you can blame Trump for 225,000 deaths, right? Why not just blame him for every death that's ever happened? There you go. So you got that out the way. You can say that the way that the feds have handled this, and the Trump administration has handled some of this has been awful. And I'm okay with that because I think the way he is, here's his problem is when he fights something. So he'll throw facts out there. Look, 99.9% of young people that get this are going to survive it rarely know they even have it. And he could walk out those facts, but the way he does it is very just like, you guys are idiots. And that's not good. On the other side, they battle with, you get this and you may die. According to what fact? Even people that have compromised immune systems, even people that are elderly, a majority of them, and I'm not talking about like 51%, no, like 85, 90%, they will recover from this. We forget that. But the way that we have our country structured isn't like other countries. That is the beauty of what we have. And at times it can be an Achilles heel. But I will take the beauty over the Achilles heel every day, right? Knowing I've got the Achilles heel, and that is, yes, our governors are going to run it, and we may not like some of the governors and the way that they do things, but that's who we are, and I accept that. But I also take the fact that there's a lot of great things about that. More great things that outweighs that Achilles heel. It's frustrating, though. I get it. But when people blame Trump completely for everything, I ask you a question. Look at your governor. How did your governor handle it? Because if your governor handled it amazingly, and you had low numbers of mortality, and your hospitals weren't really crunched, and your economy stayed somewhat afloat, that's your governor right there. Just throwing it out there. Maybe food for thought. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. You know what? Hillary could have been president.
Do you think a woman president in the United States would handle the pandemic better?
I have no doubt, especially if it were me.
But it's not. Of course you would have done it better. I was telling my uncle last night, it's really weird that a cyborg has no feelings whatsoever.
I was born for that. I mean, that's why I knew I'd be a good president. I was ready for crises and emergencies, and I would have done what you see these women leaders doing. You listen to the science, you bring in people in an open, inclusive way, you communicate constantly, you make the case by explaining why what you're doing is in the long-term interest, not only of health, but also of the economy. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind at all that I would have stepped up to that crisis.
Of course, Monday morning quarterback's great. And being inclusive in situations is super good. How about just bring the best people in? But I just want everybody to realize this. What we're not talking about is Italy. Italy has done everything that many people on the left who criticize Trump would want to do. Hardcore mask mandate. Hardcore stay and shelter in place. Go outside of your house 2 days a week. In some places, in some areas, it's a little bit more free. But in most places, it's when you go out, they're asking you, okay, what day are you supposed to be out? What can you do? It is, and it still couldn't stop another wave from hitting. But everybody ignores that. Everywhere I go, I see people with masks. Everywhere I go, I see a majority, 95% of people wearing masks. And yet we're still having a rise. It's not the end all, the be all. It's not the cure all. It's trying to slow it down. But the reality is Mark Meadows was right, and we didn't want to hear that. Hey, we're not going to be able to just like magically throw a net on this thing and try to contain it until we figure something out. We need to be smart, use common sense, learn to live with it, through it, and around it. But hiding from it isn't going to change anything. And so we can't just live indoors. And nobody's answered the question. And I've asked it. I've asked Tammy Duckworth. I've asked it to several Biden surrogates. I've asked it to a few Trump people. If we don't get a vaccine that is truly effective in a major way, 50, 60% plus, 100% would be great. But I'm just saying, what do we do at that point? Nobody ever wants to ask a real question like that. And sure in the hell nobody wants to answer it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. How real is this?
Everyone knows this could be the most important election in our nation's history.
And the two choices couldn't be more different.
Do we want 4 more years of Donald Trump?
Or a fresh start with Joe Biden? Can we survive 4 more years of scandal, name-calling, and racial division?
Or do we want a leader who unites the country?
I want to vote for Biden because he's better, smarter, better, and better. But I'm worried.
I'm worried too. Because if Donald Trump isn't president,
then what are we going to talk about?
Yes, right there. What are we going to talk about? So many people have wrapped themselves up in the Trump. I love Trump. I identify as a Trumper. This is who I am. This is everything I'm about. I'm no longer a mother, a father. I'm a patriot. I'm a Trump supporter, and that's it. And other people have wrapped themselves up in, I'm a patriot. I love the country too, but I hate Trump. He's evil, and we won't exist anymore if he survives another 4 years. And that's who they are. And the reality is what happens when he goes away? Then you find out, well, our common enemy or our common thing that bound us was our disdain or love for one, and that's who we were. Then who are we now?
Like, what will our conversations even be?
Because the only thing I've talked about for 4 years is Donald Trump.
My entire personality is hating Donald Trump. What am I supposed to do?
What is the news even going to be about now?
I am really worried for Rachel Maddow. Like, what is she even going to talk about?
That's why on November 3rd, I'll be worried.
But I'll really be worried about my favorite villain disappearing.
Like, if they replace the Joker with Batman's butler, Alfred. Sure, Gotham would be more stable, but I'd rather watch the Joker blow up a hospital.
How many people do you know are so invested in this that if this goes in a certain way, I have talked about with the news media, and I've talked about it ad nauseum with the, once he goes, what's Morning Joe going to talk about for 3 hours, right? They're not going to talk about, hey, what'd you and Mika do last night, Joe? I don't know. You know, what are the New York Times going to write about? What's the Washington Post going to do? What's Hannity and them going to do? I mean, they'll come after Biden for a little bit. And what's, CNN, my God. I mean, once the coronavirus eventually is off the radar, what are they going to do? Like, what's Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tapper, Chris Cuomo, Poppy Harlow? What are they going to do? They got nothing. I'm curious. For me, I talk about anything. I like talking about a lot of other stuff. But it is funny. Now, this may be true, and this is where if I'm Trump, I pivot because I think he won't, but this could be very true.
And then I remembered that even if he loses, Trump isn't going away.
Yeah, if anything, he's going to get more vocal.
And angrier.
And crazier.
And with all his crimes, there's bound to be a trial at some point. And maybe Trump will represent himself in court. Okay, I gotta stop getting my hopes up.
And then, who knows, maybe Donald and Ivanka will run together in 2024.
What is wrong with you?
Bro, I was just throwing it out there.
Now it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna hate you for it.
Would be hilarious, though.
Yeah. If I'm Trump, I give nobody any free run at money, because that's what it is. He's an industry all to himself. The hating industry and the loving Trump industry is real and thriving. If I'm Trump, I go hit golf balls and hang out with the family and the grandkids, and, that's it. He won't, though, because he can't. He'll barnstorm. He'll complain. He'll whine. He'll say he's robbed. He'll be a more vocal Hillary. And on the other side, if Biden loses, that I hate Trump industry will grow tremendously. You might want to invest in that. Put that on the stock market. I hate Trump. It's up 16 today. Not bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Rough Greens. Love it. My dog Doodle bounces around. I give it to my puppies. People say you give it to your puppies. So it's not dog food. You sprinkle it on your dog's food. They love it. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, and 9. And it's made a huge difference for Doodle, who's older. He's got arthritis, his fatty tumors. We've talked about it. And he's got a new lease on life. And I give it to the puppies, too, because they're younger. I want them to be healthier longer. On top of that, the healthier they are, the more it saves me in the long run, which is awesome. Like, that's what you want. And it's just, they love it. And what it's done for Doodle, but what it's doing for my other dogs is awesome. And Rough Greens, it's just knocked it out of the park. If you love your pets like I love my pets, try Rough Greens. It will change. To me, it's changed everything, especially my older dog Doodle's life, because it's kept him alive in a healthier way. It's $14.95 for a 2-week jumpstart. You'll see a difference after about 7 days. After 10 days, you'll be like, wow. And then you're going to be like, this is what we need to do. Simple and easy. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. Roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Every single Halloween, I like to roll out my favorite horror movies, the movies that have left an indelible impression on me who loves horror movies, but also as a fan of the genre itself. I simply call this my countdown.
Now it's time for Chad's Evil Countdown. The best horror movies of all time. Can you handle it? Are you afraid? You should be.
So let's take a look today. Friday the 13th. Now, since Friday the 13th first arrived, there's been 1,000 different adaptations, sequels. I mean, he's gone on Jason to take on the likes of Manhattan. He was going to take on L.A. at one point, take on the Crips and the Bloods, and he's even gone to space. But the original movie is spectacular. The original movie is one of the, I always tell everybody, it's one of the great horror movies of all time because of the twists and the turns. And you go back and you look at it, because we think Jason's in the movie. Here's the reality. Jason's in the movie for 1 second. No. Spoiler alert. The killer is his mother, seeking revenge. Played by Betsy Palmer, who was a respected, theater actress and a respected TV actress. But when she did the movie, she thought it was going to be a flop. She did. She thought it was going to be an absolute flop. But it turned out to be anything but a flop. And as we all know, the ominous music, all of those things.
11. 12. Friday,
13th. You may only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday, the 13th.
So the movie itself cost about $500,000, made enormous amounts of money that you could not believe. Sean Cunningham wrote and directed the movie. It was just one of those amazing films at the time that changed a lot of stuff. And he since obviously went on to have multiple sequels. It also gave young Kevin Bacon his first movie role. He went on to do some big stuff as well. And I love it. It's just one of those great movies. And the music, if you listen to it, it is kill, 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 ma, ma, ma. Kill, ma. Kill mother, basically. Because mom was getting revenged. Great movie. Friday the 13th, the original, 1980 version, is movie number 4 on the Chad Benson Show. Scary Countdown. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm not a big fan of court packing. I'm not a big fan of saying we're just going to add X number of them. But I'm going to listen.
He's waved a white flag on life. He doesn't leave his basement. This guy doesn't leave his basement.
You know, everything is at stake, from the environment to our health. You heard what his chief of staff. Climate, well, that's what I'm talking about, the environment, climate change.
Joe Biden, as you know, is a corrupt politician. They've known that for a long time.
The country is an inflection point. The way every single one of us votes right now is going to determine the future for a long time, not just for 4 years, but well beyond that.
He's a pathetic candidate, I will tell you that.
This is it. 7 days. Ladies and gentlemen, 7 ginormous days. Hit the post right there, Phil. Did you hear that?
That was fantastic.
Hey, kids. Yeah. Little Europe for all of you guys. It is the final countdown. 7 days away. 7 days of campaigning. 7 days of slogging through different states, doing everything that each of these candidates can do to either hold on to a lead and build onto it, or to make a desperate comeback, at least according to polls. And for Trump, there is some making up to do.
President Trump campaigns in 3 states today, making stops in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, all states he won in 2016. The president this week is ramping up his outreach to voters. His campaign planning stops in nearly a dozen states and up to 11 rallies in the final 48 hours before Election Day. He also gets a boost from the First Lady. Melania Trump holds her first campaign event of this cycle, an event today in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Now, what does Trump have to do? Well, he's got to figure out what he's going to do in these next 6 days that will inspire people that either voted for him in the past but are over the show. They're over the show. They don't want anything to do with the chaos, the craziness. They don't want anything to do with the tweets and the fighting. They don't want anything to do with any of that stuff. They're just over it. They don't want they want no part of it. What can he do to either get those people to come back out? Because I've talked to several people who just said, you know what? I'm skipping it. I will vote for the down ballots and the props and the things in my area. But outside of that, I'm skipping the presidential race. And I totally get that. Look, the beauty of our country is the freedom that we have in our democratic republic. I continue to tell everybody that. The beauty that we have, though, is that we have a choice. And sometimes that choice is, I'm going to abstain from this. I don't feel like I want to be a part of whatever is going on. It takes a special someone to want to be the president of the United States. And that doesn't mean that you're inspirational, as a lot of people would like to think. That person's inspirational. It's like anything else now. You know, back in the day when we had presidents, like way back in the day, we're talking horse and buggy and stuff like that. You know, the bad guys. Back in that day, like George Washington said, all right, hey, look, we got away from England. Look at this. We're won. Woo, great bit. We beat them. Yeah, we win. All right, do you want to be king? He's like, no, I don't want to be a king. I don't want any part of that. Let's do this. Let's do something else. We just got away from a king. I don't want that. Today's world, if we offered politicians the opportunity to be kings, queens, I mean, hell yeah. Because that's a lot of what it is. Super ego driven. There's a certain something that goes into it. And I know a few that are very ego driven. And by the way, I know a few politicians that have very little ego. And I will tell you, you have no idea who they are. Because they honestly thought, hey, we're doing this for the right thing. And then you get in there and you find out that you're just, your assistant has the same power that you do. That's the sad thing. There's a certain amount of ego that goes into this. I wouldn't want it. Ever. Period. Just, I don't, there's just, it's something about it. But each one of them have to turn their charm and ego on in the next 6 days. If you're Donald Trump, you're coming from behind. You did it last time. And quite frankly, you love it. You do. You eat it up. You love the underdog role. You enjoy the underdog role. Us versus them. You enjoy that. And that's what you have right now. You've built a shield. Now, have you expanded that thing? Right? Have you expanded that group? I don't think you have. I don't think you've expanded that group enough that I would have liked to have seen. You didn't expand it enough. I think you got to the point where you were very comfortable, and because of that, you felt like, I don't know if I need to do anything else. But you've got a very loyal following that is us versus them. They don't like us. CNN hates us. The New York Times thinks everybody that lives, in the middle of the country, is a knuckle dragger and doesn't quite understand, how to read and write, and they don't learn. He's playing upon that. And some of that's true. I mean, some of that is. Some of the obnoxiousness that comes out of certain places like Hollywood and New York and San Francisco and Seattle is they do have a lot of, they don't like it. There's a lot of contempt for the people in the middle of the country. They're simple. On the other side, Joe Biden got a lead. You got 6 days. How big's that lead? Now, Hillary, she had a bigger lead, but that lead shrunk fast. You've had a lead that's not as big as hers at times, but it's not shrinking. By this time, her campaign was the Titanic. It was taking on water. The musicians were deciding, what's the last song we play as this thing goes down? The boats were filling up. The rats were jumping off. That's where this was going. And it was like, at that time, it was a sprint. And the person in Trump's group was sprinting on like one of those, like a treadmill or one of those conveyor belts. And then Hillary's people, they were trying to sprint uphill in sand. It's not that way. This time it's a little different, but you got 6 days. And I don't know what Trump is going to do to get those people that may want to just stay at home to come back out. Because the people I've talked to who are undecided, if they did vote, they would vote for Trump, but they don't want to vote. They don't. They feel like both candidates are more than flawed, and they just don't want to. And the one thing that will get them out there is very little to do with Trump and more to do with Biden. Who's Biden going to surround himself with? Who's Biden going to put in his cabinet? Who's Biden going to put out there? And that's a very real thing. I heard yesterday, right? Treasury Department, they're floating around Elizabeth Warren.
This is about fairness and about opportunity. Nurses pay an average of what? Maybe $20,000 a year in taxes. Teachers, $17,000 a year in taxes. Grocery store clerks, $10,000 a year in taxes. People who are paying a lot of money in taxes. And Donald Trump says he's going to pay $750. And here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, well, but it's legal. And in fact, this is Donald Trump's argument. We have to ask ourselves, why is that legal?
I don't know. Donald Trump didn't make up the laws. You did. You and Biden have been there for 17,000 years. That's a you thing.
That is only legal because billionaires, real estate developers, giant corporations are the ones who have written our tax code.
They have not. They've given to people who have helped them craft things. So think about that. And those people put their name on. The Koch brothers didn't go in and vote. Now, they may have given money. Absolutely. The tech giants, they give money. They go out there. They do all these things. But they don't vote. That's a you issue. Elizabeth, you guys crafted the laws. You guys did. If you want to fix them, then fix them. But I hear it all the time. Right? Obama, he had everything. They could have fixed it. They didn't. They didn't. They didn't do criminal justice reform. They didn't. I love how, well, this shouldn't be right. Whether it should or shouldn't be right doesn't make it so. What matters is you can, because at this point in time, these things are legal.
So we got to do two things.
Okay.
One, we need to tighten up the tax code.
Tighten it up.
There are so many loopholes. The second thing we do is we have to take another think about taxes overall. It's time for a wealth tax in America.
Of course it is. It's always time for something. It's time to tax people that I'm not a part of.
We're going to take that wealth tax and we're going to spend it on childcare and pre-K and public K through 12, cancel student loan debt, put money into our historically black colleges and universities.
Trump did that.
Make two-year college, technical school, four-year college, tuition free for all of our kids. It's a way to balance the system. We can do that with taxes. It's not even that hard.
So here's a question. Why haven't you before? If it's not that hard, why haven't you before? If you ever go and look at all the donors that are out there, you go look at Wall Street and the insurance companies and everything else, you find out that they pretty much split their money 50-50. Well, why is that? Because they don't care who's in charge as long as they get to court the power. And the power courts them because they have money. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. And what she sees as evil and bad because he can do that, you're not taking into account the small business owners around the country who make $300,000 or $400,000 a year. But with all the things they've got to take care of, that money dwindles fast. That's who it hurts. How do you do it in a smart way? Because just remember this, at some point in time, if you're not going to incentivize people to do certain things, you find, hey, you know what? You took away giving to a lot of places, like to charity. Let's say you take away giving to charity. You'll find out that people won't give if they can't write it off. Well, some people give here and there. But if I can't get a bonus out of it for a tax write-off, well, why would I do that? Just curious. So many issues. But you've been there, and Joe's been there for almost 5 decades. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't all on Trump. We could point a lot of things at Trump, but the last time I checked, he didn't write the tax code. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from our single one of you. Raycons, the best earbuds around. Ray J put this company together with several things in mind. First of all, price. Price is key. I see all these companies out there, and they're like, check out these new things. They got these slick commercials, and, you know, they don't use the Chad Bensons of the world, right? Because they can use, and you go and you're like, oh my God, it's $329 for those. Yeah, that's a hard pass on something that I've had in the past that I know it's not that good. Well, that's $200 for those. But hey, it's great because it matches the phone. Don't Raycon E25s, best earbuds around. Let me tell you a little bit about these things. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing. The noise isolating fit is amazing. Why is that? Because when I'm making calls, taking calls, doing video conference calls, I hear them, they hear me. I don't have to push it back in. There's no wires, there's no stems. And the price point, again, Ray J put it together right. Well under $100 for the best earbuds around. Boom. What are you waiting for? Get your E25s right now. Great Christmas gifts. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. On top of that, save 15% by using that code. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending?
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet.
What's trending?
Let's see what's trending in the world of politics, pop culture. Let's first start over in Google.
Amy Coney Barrett is still trending. 2 million people searched her out in the last 24 hours.
Who is this lady that's reshaped the Supreme Court?
Water on the moon. How about that? So this could be huge in our trek to go to the Mars. People are like, this is the first rest stop. Hey, I have to go bad. Can we stop at the next one? I could stretch my legs. I need something to drink. It'd be great. You get up there, it's like a 7-Eleven. Right? Just stretch. You guys want a big gulp? Sure. Lil Pump, rapper, endorses Trump for president, slams Biden's tax plan. I'm sure somebody's going to come out in the next 24 hours and call him something horrible, say that doesn't he understand that you can't ever vote for Trump because of whatever reason. I don't know. I shouldn't be, but I'm a little shocked over the whole thing with Chelsea Handler telling 50 Cent. I told him he's black, and I reminded him of that, and that he can't vote for Trump. And I'm like, wow, that's when people talk about the Democratic plantation, that feels a little bit like it, doesn't it? Like, you better come back over here. You don't know any better. White woman to the rescue. Yay! Oh, head on over to Twitter. Everybody's just fighting. More when it comes to Supreme Court. Absolutely. People contest Marco Rubio's claim that 52 legitimately elected U.S. senators voted to confirm Amy Coney Barrett. And I don't know, will they not legitimately? Are they talking about Martha McSally? Probably. She was appointed. Kelly Loeffler as well was appointed. Well, but their party voted those people in. Is that? Why are we fighting over this? It's done. Just get over it. It's done. Get over it. That's pretty much it. It's a quiet day. It feels quiet before the storm. It really does. It just feels like we're at that point where it's getting something, it's the crescendo, right? We're building up to it. Is that more melodic music, and we're getting ready to start to feel it's going to get bigger and louder as we head in through the week and into the weekend of chaos, and then Monday, and then boom, Tuesday. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
President Trump today on Twitter writing in all caps, quote, all the fake news media wants to talk about is COVID, 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 a message he pushed on the campaign trail in Pennsylvania Monday. This as cases are surging and hospitalizations across the nation are up 40% in the last month. On the trail in Pennsylvania Monday, I asked President Trump if his administration had given up on controlling the virus after his chief of staff on Sunday has signaled they had.
No, not at all. In fact, the opposite. Absolutely the opposite. We've done an incredible job.
This is where he's tone deaf. This right here. This is where he's tone deaf. Don't ignore that. He's Larry from Jaws, trying to figure out how he saves for another 4 years. 4th of July, maybe August. It's Larry. It's too late. You had the chance. You did. Now, I can't blame Trump for everything when it comes to COVID. That's not who I am. I'm not going to sit here, and I know everybody either wants you to be on his team or off his team. I want my president to succeed, and I'm here to tell everybody listening right now, if Joe Biden ends up winning, and I don't know what's going to happen 7 days from now, if he ends up winning, I'm going to support him. I'm going to give him a chance. And if he does something I don't like, I will say I didn't like that. If he does something I do like, I'll say I like that, because that's a normal response as an American and a human being. But that's the tone deafness of Trump. Why is everybody talking about COVID? Because it is seeped into every aspect of most people's life. Whether they've had it, their business has been shut down, and or they've lost their business and job because of it. They've lost a family member. Their kids are home from school all the time or part-time and then all the time and then back in school and then stopping, or you've had to quit your job to take care of the kids who are now at home, and you have to teach them as well. It is seeped into just about everything. That's why people are talking about it. Have people politicized it? Absolutely. 110%. The end of the day, that's the stuff that a lot of people get pissed about. Even people who are normal, not, as one person called me yesterday, a sycophant for Trump. And I'm like, do you listen to my show? I'll tell you this right now. I don't love any politician. Fall in like, not love. And the absolute minute you give them their vote, and if they win, they're on the clock to win your vote again. But make them earn it. We don't do that enough. We don't ask politicians to earn our vote anymore. But this is the tone deafness of Trump. All they're talking about is COVID, COVID, COVID. You can be Joe Biden at times, and I'm look, for those of you who are Biden supporters, I'm just going to throw it out there. Kind of like Fauci, a little bit of Debbie Downer. He is. You need to have a balance of both. Somebody who's going to be, look, I'm going to give you guys the straight skinny on this, and then tells you what the straight skinny is. But I'm also going to tell you there's a chance this is how we have to do it. We have to do this, this, and this. Right? Trump's the guy that'll tell you we can do anything, even when the odds are so ridiculous. And it's great to feel that way, but there's some reality that needs to go with it. How are we going to beat the Lakers? There's only two of us, and none of us know how to play basketball. No, you can do this, right? And then on the other side, Biden's the guy that'll tell you, look, we're up by 40, and we're going to get through this all right, but there's a good chance we're going to lose this game. So if it's up to me, I think we should just forfeit. You need the middle ground. When I played soccer, and just like this, everybody's had a boss that's like this. Everybody who's ever been in situations like this, whether it's school, whether it's sports, whether it's work, even teachers, professors, is somebody who criticizes 24/7, who always feels like, that somebody that, for all intents and purposes, everything seems to be negative. And at times, it's true. Even though I'm here, I care, I have empathy, it's all coming with the everybody's a victim, let me hug you scenario. Trump's the exact opposite. And sometimes you're not accepting and the realization of what's going on. You need the in-between. What's the in-between? You can criticize. You can be honest. You can do it in such a way where you're pointing out certain things, but then talk about the things that we can do better and how we can get from point A to point B. And where Trump is tone deaf is the fact that he's like, well, they're always talking about this. And on the other side, Biden, if you listen to him at times, you think, well, this feels like, just like I listen to people on the left who were just, yesterday we spoke with Cher. So Cher was on our local show. And I asked her, I did. I said, just out of curiosity, Cher, what will happen if Trump wins? And this is what she said.
I think it would be the end of America as we've known it.
Ain't that hyperbole much? I think it would be the end of America as we know it. Happy medium, right? Where's the happy medium? We can realize we've made mistakes and at the same time talk about the positives and always end on a good. Or we can be Debbie Downer all the time, or we can look on the other side and live so far in the sky at times that we, our heads so far in the clouds, we're not realizing that, hey, we're floating away here. Where's the middle ground? And both, I think, are tone deaf. Both are tone deaf. Both are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I do. I swear. And I'm not trying to be, I'm not tone deaf. I'm not. Right? But sometimes you would think, can you read the room a little bit? Just a smidge. Speaking of reading the room, Jared Kushner.
Thing we've seen in the black community, which is mostly Democrat, is that President Trump's policies are the policies that can help people break out of the problems that they're complaining about, but he can't want them to be successful more than they want to be successful. And what you're seeing throughout the country now is a groundswell of support in the black community because they're realizing that all the different bad things that the media and the Democrats have said about President Trump are not true.
Now, he's getting huge, like, how dare he say this, right? How dare he say this? How dare he say what he said? Listen again.
The thing we've seen in the black community, which is mostly Democrat, is that President Trump's policies are the policies that can help people break out of the problems that they're complaining about, but he can't want them to be successful more than they want to be successful. And what you're seeing throughout the country now is a groundswell of support in the black community because they're realizing that all the different bad things that the media and the Democrats have said about President Trump are not true.
And here's something I'm going to say. Everybody's saying, how dare he say that? Oh, they don't want to be successful? I think what he said there is very real. It's like anything else in life. Like people who are in rehab or people who want to lose weight or people, there are just certain things out there where, you know what? Right. Trump, like, he can't want it more than you do. But I heard that as a kid from my parents. I did. I don't know about you guys. I'm sure every one of you listening at some point in time heard that from your parents. You got to do it. I can't put the work in for you. Well, that's a racist thing to say. Why is that a racist thing to say? Remember, we have this weird way that we look at things now, which is, do you want potentially the truth? Right? So do you want the truth? Like, can Trump want it more for other people? But take away Trump. Can you want it more for other people? Even if you're black and you're in the black community, can you want it more for your neighbor than they want it? Let's just break it down to that. No, you can't. You can only do what you can do and hope that the opportunity that's out there, even though at times it may be tougher and other times you may find a path that's it's easier, but that you take that opportunity and you work hard for it. It's that simple. Trump has done good things for the community.
I'm the least racist person in this room.
8 in 10 black Americans believe that Trump is a racist, according to a Washington Post Ipsos poll earlier this year. Why does the president make comments like that instead of acknowledging that maybe sometimes he has said things that seem insensitive, but he wants to work on it?
Well, that's not his style. I think it's really unfortunate because Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say this, I'm going to keep saying it, he has done good stuff for the black community.
Yeah. That's Van Jones the other day. He has. He has done good things for the black community. Historically black colleges, opportunity zones, justice reform. We can talk about it. And yeah, he all too often says things, puts his foot in his mouth, becomes his own worst enemy. Sometimes in life, you don't need to fight with everybody, but the person you fight with the most is yourself because you can't help yourself. And Van Jones is right about that. I don't think Jared Kushner said anything that was so outrageous. He's a racist. That's all I've heard all morning. And like, for saying that you can't want it more than the other person if that you're trying to help somebody?
Opportunity zone stuff, black college stuff. I work with him on criminal justice stuff. I saw Donald Trump have African-American people formerly incarcerated in the White House, embraced them, treated them well. There's a side to Donald Trump that I think he does not get enough credit for. But the reason he doesn't is because he also says the most incendiary stuff. He retweets white nationalists, and he violates the number one rule of blackness. I'm not friends with people who are friends with my enemies.
Yeah, sometimes he gets himself into a mess. Let's not pretend that he doesn't. But the whole Kushner thing I found to be so just, he doesn't get credit. Trump. And I don't think what Kushner said was awful. But it goes back to what we have now, which is, for all that you hear about Trump being the great divider, know this, the people on the left do a really good job of dividing stuff too. Everybody in the black community, you're all victims. Everybody in this community here, you're nothing but a victim. And these people are the bad people. You over here, you're a victim. Why? Well, I'm not a victim. No, you are. Trust me, you are. And it's because of these people. It's because of this situation. It's because of that. And the only way to rid yourself of this is to hire me by voting me in, and then I will fight your battle for you. Because they're bad. Everybody's got their way to divide. Everybody does. It's almost, you know what I said? It's almost like a sick relationship. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. The kind of relationship that voters have now with politicians. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hello, Fresh. Had a nice sandwich last night thanks to HelloFresh. It's delicious. 22 chef-curated recipes each and every week. Delivered to my door, contact-free. Recyclable packaging, which is great. Save on waste because, well, there isn't that much food waste because it's the right amount, portioned out perfectly. Save about 40% versus shopping out the store. And I get to choose between vegetarian, low-calorie, family-friendly. Right now, my son's here, so we're going a little family-friendly because he likes to eat. And it's very simple. You choose the meal that you want to eat that night, right? It takes all the headache out. Falls here, so the meals are a little bit more comfort foody. So you choose those meals. So I'm going to go with this. So you choose said meal. And it takes you between 15 and about 25 minutes before you put it together, cook it up, sit down, and start to eat it. And it's awesome. It takes the headache out of everything. I've added extra meals while my son's here. When I traveled last week, I paused. I can do that because HelloFresh is flexible for my schedule. That's what I love. HelloFresh.com, promo code Benson. When you use that promo code, $80 savings off across 5 boxes, plus free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson to save $80 right there. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Oh, my God. 6 days. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. 6 days. It's kind of the ebbs and flows now. We were trying to we talked about it this morning. Anthony and I were just It feels very kind of, we're in this, like we're ready to take off on our trip. So we boarded the plane. So we got to the airport, right? We got through security, wait in line, strip search, the whole 9 yards. There was a delay. Oh, my God, there's a delay. There's a delay. There's a delay. All right, but now we're moving over here to this gate. So we move over to this gate. Now we're going to be seating passengers, blah, 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 blah. So on we go. We sit down. You know, the little noise that goes. We're sitting there. We're like, come on, let's do this. Then we back away, right? Right? After you hear the doors shut, you back away. Back away. And we turn and we find out, oh, my God, we're 18th in line. And that's kind of where I feel we are. We're 18th. But now we're closer to like 6th. 6th in line. Ready to take off. 6th in line. 6 more days. On the 7th day, they shall vote. And they have been voting, by the way. We are like unprecedented numbers have already voted. It's nuts.
Already across the country, more than 64 million ballots have been cast, 46% of all the votes counted in 2016. Up in the polls, Biden is campaigning in Georgia today and Iowa later this week, while Trump is campaigning in nearly a dozen states this week, planning up to 11 rallies in the final 48 hours before Election Day.
Yeah, so we're getting closer. Thank God for that, because I think we've all had enough of this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. By the way, with all of that happening, there is not too far from now, 6 days, a meteor may smash into us. And this could all be for naught. But we will have to rebuild. We will have to get through it. And in doing so, we will need stuff. So we've got all the seeds, right? All those seeds in those giant, huge vaults inside of mountains protected. But what about fun stuff?
Sometimes I'll check Twitter just to see what people are saying about Oreos. On October 3rd, I came across a tweet unlike any I had ever seen before. It said, asteroid coming for Earth, who will save the Oreos?
I'd hate for the world to lose Oreo cookies. It's a big responsibility. I'm conflicted. It would be a shame for the world to end, but it's a pretty good vault.
Oreo! Yep. Doomsday Vault to protect the recipe for Oreos and the cookies, just in case. So while everybody else is over where the seeds are, Chad will be with the Twinkies, because I'm going to bring some, and the Oreos. The good news about Twinkies is Twinkies probably survive any doomsday. You can just go to any store. But Oreos, totally different. Now, this should be harmless as it passes by us on the 2nd, the day before the election. But just in case, know this, I will be protecting the Oreo cookies in Svalbard, Norway. If you guys don't hear from me. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm not a big fan of court packing. I'm not a big fan of saying we're just going to add X number of... But I'm going to listen.
He's waved a white flag on life. He doesn't leave his basement. This guy doesn't leave his basement.
You know, everything is at stake, from the environment to our health. You heard what his chief of staff... Climate, well, that's what I'm talking about, the environment, climate change.
Joe Biden, as you know, is a corrupt politician. They've known that for a long time.
The country is at an inflection point. The way every single one of us votes right now is going to determine the future for a long time, not just for 4 years, but well beyond that.
He's a pathetic candidate, I will tell you that.
Tell me! That's what I'm talking about, baby. This is it. 6 days until we start. 7 days from now, we'll be in the throngs of the election day. But 6 days till it kicks off. Oh. my goodness. All of us should be excited. All of us should be happy. All of us should be cheering on the end of this absolute crap. Who's with me? Can I get an amen? Amen, Chad, brother Chad, amen. You know, I was thinking about this last night. I like to have fun with stuff. I like to think outside the box, right? I don't look at things, you know. Kanye, I was listening to Kanye this weekend. He thinks I think it's 5D. I'm like, okay. But when I look at politics and the way that I see politics in the modern world and the way that we view politics, it's to me a very abusive relationship. And follow with me here, okay? This is the relationship that's abusive. So if you've been in one, if you've known relationships, if the people like this and you know, watch television ever, what happens? What's the first thing you do? The person that you're enthralled with, the person, whatever it is, that you do what? You slowly but surely start to cut people that would go against you, people that would challenge you, people who maybe see you for who you are, or vice versa. You cut them out of your lives, right? You make sure that, this person here, yeah, he doesn't like me for her, or she doesn't like me for him. So I'm going to cut that person out of life, cut that person out of life, cut that person out of life. Oh, yeah. Then what ends up happening is you tell the other side is against you. That side's against me. They don't like me. They don't like me. They don't like anything about me. They don't know me, but they don't like me. And then the person that you're wooing in this abusive relationship, they start to say, yeah, it's us versus them. Us versus them. And that's so politics right now. It's us versus them. The other side is saying, I don't know if this person's right for you. The other person's saying, I'm worried about you. And you're just like, no, it's fine. You don't know. You don't know the rules. You don't know the facts. You don't know any of these things. It's a weird thing. It's kind of where we are in politics now. It's kind of bizarrely an abusive relationship. And both sides are guilty of it. Both sides don't want to hear anybody else challenge their relationship with one side. They don't want to hear any of the facts. They don't want to hear any of the arguments. And that's kind of sad. Because I think we're better than that. We need a healthy relationship. I would like to see us have a healthy relationship with politics. And to have a healthy relationship with politics, we have to actually talk to each other, which is insane. Why do we talk to each other, Chad? Tell me why we would talk to anybody on the other side. Because they're not on the other side. They're your neighbors. They're your friends. They're your family members. They have a different belief system. And by the way, we need both belief systems. We need a conservative belief system. We need to have empathy and some liberal ideology. We need to have both. It's okay. Every once in a while, you know what? We need to spare the rod. And then every once in a while, we need to put our foot down. But this is, I feel like, in America right now, has an abusive relationship with politics. And politics has an abusive relationship with us. That we're somewhat being brainwashed, that we've been groomed by politicians to basically make them their center of your universe. And that's insane. We've got to stop that. We need a healthy relationship where we can argue, we can discuss, we can debate, and we can part as friends. And I think the more that we can do that, the better we're going to be. Now, I don't know if that's an overnight thing, because I don't think it is. But I think if we start looking at politicians in a much different way, that'll help us. And the first thing that we need to do is to recognize that they're not your happiness. They're not your savior. They're not your end-all to be-all. They're not anything. They could be somewhat of a partner, right? But they're not going to be anything other than that. We have too many people that look to the likes of Donald Trump or to the left, right now it's Biden, but just to the Democratic Party, as in some way, shape, or form, they're going to cure all the ills in the world. And that is not the truth. The reality is we need more personal responsibility, and that includes our happiness, that includes our well-being, that includes the health of our bank accounts, that includes a lot of different things. But we do have a very unhealthy relationship with politics, which has made it a very unhealthy relationship towards one another, that has put strain on us, where we argue and fight over the dumbest things. MAGA 4 more years, woo! And the other side's like, he's going to destroy the world. We won't be a nation in 4 years. Because my side told me so. And the other side's like, no, if your side gets in, we won't be a country. And I'm like, you guys are both wrong. But I think it's time that we start having healthy relationship again with politics. When people ask me what I look forward to in politics, I used to enjoy politics. I used to enjoy it. I used to enjoy you know what? I want a smaller government. I want more responsibility. I want more accountability. I want people actually taking accountability in the government for the things that they do, as well as individuals across the board. I'd love to see that again, right? I'd love to see that thing where we actually, you know what? We had a little, give and take, right? And we got some stuff done that had very little to do with the party and more to do with the betterment of the people and the situation. But when you're in an unhealthy relationship, you're not going to get that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Europe is having issues with the coronavirus.
Pretty much restrictions in almost every single country. Certainly here in Britain, Wales, which is obviously part of the United Kingdom, has gone into a full-scale lockdown, as has Ireland. We're seeing restrictions in France, in Spain, in Germany, and many other countries across Europe, as everyone's trying to get a grip on, is it the second wave? Is it an extension of the first wave?
I don't know. I mean, is it the third wave? I mean, here in America, we're the third wave. I'm like, I didn't even know we had a second wave. Well, it never went away. Well, then wouldn't it technically be the first wave? Well, you just don't understand. No, I don't get it. I don't get it. But think about this. As we complain about, here's a perfect example of politics making it unhealthy for us, and we argue over stuff. They've done everything right. For all the Trump craziness, and he's done everything wrong, and if only we'd had a national mask mandate, all of these countries do. All of these countries have been on some sort of lockdown that's much more serious than us, even when they loosened things. Italy was in a major lockdown, and they said last week, no matter what they do, it's not stopping the spread. That should be absolutely frustrating. And people over there, I tell you guys this, and I've told you over and over again, there comes a breaking point.
Italy isn't the only country where we've seen protests. I think there is a general mood of rising anger, but in Italy in particular, we saw protests in Naples over the weekend and over the last 24 hours in Milan and also in Turin in the north of the country. That's where it was at its worst. Mainly young people coming out to protest.
And protest what? They feel like you guys aren't stopping us. You're making us lock down to the point where we're not even able to go outside. We feel like our freedoms are being taken away and nothing is changing. All that you're trying to do is failing. And along the way, we're over it and we're frustrated and we can't leave. And our lives feel like they're being taken away and they're pissed. They're absolutely. And it hasn't happened here. Michigan and the craziness that went on there, let's not talk about those lunatics, and I'm glad they got caught. And the thought of even doing anything to Governor Whitmer was just absolutely insane. Vile individuals that they were. But they went hardcore for a lockdown. New Jersey went hardcore. But imagine that being, we look at that and we're like, oh my God, that's insane. I couldn't imagine that. Then you look over at Europe and you find out that, like, they would live for something like that. I was talking to a guy in Spain. We have him come on our show, my local show, every once in a while. And he is he's an opera singer, and he was a quarterback at ASU, played he backed up Jake Plummer in the Rose Bowl and stuff like that. And he's now a big opera singer. And he was saying that, like, you could go out in Barcelona for a few hours, like every other day, and you had to have like paper on you, show you what you're doing, coming and going, and otherwise you're locked up inside your house. And we haven't got to that. Could you imagine if that's what they tell us to do? Oh, the pushback. We don't appreciate our freedoms and liberties until they start to slowly but surely get taken away from us. And that, I think, would be a bridge too far for a lot of people. But human beings inherently have a breaking point. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program, MyPillow. Got new sheets. Giza Dream sheets. Egyptian cotton. Absolutely amazing. 60-day money-back guarantee, which is awesome. 10-year warranty, which is incredible. And what I love about these sheets is, first of all, the comfort. You're sliding into $1 million. You feel it is, you know, when you buy something that's really nice compared to stuff you bought in the past, you're like, oh my God, this is one of those things. So you're treating yourself, but it's not breaking the bank. The second thing is, for me, it's also important to know that when I wash it, it will fit again. Because how many of us have washed sheets and we're like, oh, I've got a queen, and then you're like, this fits a twin now. You don't have to worry about that with these Giza Dream towels and sheets. You're going to love them. Right now, they got a 2-for-1 pricing going on. You go to MyPillow.com. Promo code is Benson. When you use that promo code, you're gonna benefit on the 2-for-1 pricing. They got all kinds of colors. They've got all kinds of styles. You're absolutely going to love these. Different sizes. Giza Dream sheets from MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Take advantage of the 2-for-1 pricing. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics. As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call. You are a blabbermouth!
Come on, man.
Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
President Trump campaigns in 3 states today, making stops in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, all states he won in 2016. The president this week is ramping up his outreach to voters. His campaign planning stops in nearly a dozen states and up to 11 rallies in the final 48 hours before Election Day. He also gets a boost from the First Lady. Melania Trump holds her first campaign event of this cycle, an event today in Pennsylvania.
What can he do? I keep playing that over and over again. What can he do? So he's out. He knows. Look, he knows the score. He's not an idiot. He may talk about, oh, we've got this in the bag, but the reality is he's not a fool. He knows what he has to do. He knows he's got to make up some ground. How much ground? Well, that's with the polls, you're not quite sure. You're not quite sure. And if you're Biden, you know, look, Texas, if we wanted, it'd be great. But I am going to focus on a few places because I know if I win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, it'll be virtually impossible for him to take this. In theory, he'll probably have to win 2 or 3 of those. So I am going to focus on a few states, which is what? And this is something, as everybody talks about the polls and they talk about all of those things, you know, from 2016, let's remember this. Hillary ignored those places. Trump didn't. Hillary ignored every one of those states for the most part. A stop here, a stop there. She kind of thought it was all hers to lose and that it would take a miracle where Trump out-hustled her. He's not letting that happen this time. Biden is not getting that. He's not complacent. Now, he's hiding Biden, and they joke about that, but he didn't have to go to many places. He just has to be somewhat effective in these states to continue to push whatever he wants to push there and show that he's making an effort to it. So Trump's going to have to doubly outwork him in these areas. One thing he can do is get out there when he's talking to everybody and talk about the courts. And the courts will be his legacy, I believe, at the end of the day. The courts, and if we get a vaccine in less than a year, is a massive legacy builder. And last night, his third nominee was appointed, got through, voted on, and then
I now ask Justice Thomas to administer the oath.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And one of the things that you even talk to serious conservatives and they're like, look, the bluster, the annoyance, the shooting himself in the foot, the all too many times that he's towed the line, that walked the line and certain things, as far as the actions have been very conservative. And last night, putting the court potentially in a serious tilt to the right at 6-3, I say 5.5 to 3.5, is huge. Is really huge. And before the election and with big things coming up. So he'll roll out there with Amy Coney Barrett today, as far as not with her, but to talk about those things. But he's got some making up to do, and where he's going to make it up and how, because I don't think there's going to be many late breakers this time. I don't know. It's 64 million people have voted. Think about that. 70, maybe 80, 90 million by the time we vote. Insane. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Whatever happens, I'm going to acknowledge the winner when it's all said and done. It may go to the Supreme Court, I don't know. But there'll be a day that we know who won.
Yes, Lindsey Graham. Acknowledge the winner, whoever he is, next week or weeks or months or whatever. But I'm assuming, this is just me, I'm assuming it's going to be next Tuesday. We won't know the final results, but I think we could say it's over. But who that will be, I don't know. But whoever that is, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to give that person a chance. If it's Donald Trump, he's got 4 more years. I'll continue to criticize him, and I'll continue to give him praise when he does something good. If it's Joe Biden, if he does something good, I'll praise him. If he does something bad, I'll criticize him, just like I would expect any other person should do. But I'm not quite sure we will. Here's a fair question to ask you guys. If Joe Biden wins, are you going to give him a chance? I think it's a very fair question. Are you going to? Doesn't mean you have to agree with him all the time. Doesn't have to, mean that you support every single thing that he does. In fact, the exact opposite. You can push back and say, I didn't like that. But if he does something good, you're going to give him a chance. Are you going to root for him to fail? Because that's one of the other things that has become the hallmark of our politics. In particular, us, the voters, is we hope the other person fails. I do not want that. I go back to it. It's like sitting on an airplane. I hope, your pilot sucks. Well, he's our pilot. No, he's your pilot. He's our pilot. No, he's your pilot. I didn't vote for him. Well, it doesn't matter. He's piloting the plane now. Well, I hope he fails. So you hope he crashes? No, but yeah. Stupid. But are you going to give that person a chance? That I don't know. I don't know if everybody out there can be honest with themselves and say, I'm going to give them a chance. Maybe they can, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not. Then you've got the other side of stuff. The media, the entertainers, all of these people who gush over the left. Oh, God. Oh, God, you're amazing. You're incredible. Right? People that say, hey, if Donald Trump's reelected, Cher, what did you say?
I think it would be the end of America as we've known it.
But they'll have somebody. I've known Joe since 1914 or whatever she said yesterday. I think 2006. But the media is going to have a wrecking, and they're starting to come to it. We don't have, who? If Trump goes, and I'm not saying he will, but if Trump goes, and for a lot of people out there who've wrapped themselves and made their identity either about Trump or a hatred about Trump, what happens then? Well, Saturday Night Live actually joked about said things.
Everyone knows this could be the most important election in our nation's history.
And the two choices couldn't be more different.
Do we want 4 more years of Donald Trump?
Or a fresh start with Joe Biden? Can we survive 4 more years of scandal, name-calling, and racial division?
Or do we want a leader who unites the country?
I want to vote for Biden because he's better, smarter, better, and better. But I'm worried.
I'm worried too. Because if Donald Trump isn't president,
then what are we going to talk about?
Yeah. If your whole life is based on the disdain for one party or another. Like, people ask me all the time, Chad, do you live and breathe and eat politics? Nah. I like politics. It's just kind of a part of what I do. And that's the like, so many people out there, like, that's who they are. It's like, I'm a father, and I'm a son, and I'm a friend, and I'm a business owner, and I'm a fair to decent golfer, and I do voiceovers, and I do some comedy, and I feel I'm a pretty damn coworker, pretty good one, with my partners on the air as well as my other business partners, but, I'm, you go through it. It's like, you're a husband, you're a wife, you're a, there's other things. So when your identity is wrapped up in something, that's that's who you are. But for the left, and for the right, the people who live for Trump, what happens then? I'm just curious. Are you going to spend the next 4 years trying to destroy Joe Biden? And if Trump's not around, are you going to spend the next 4 years trying to convict him of a crime? Or are you going to have something else?
Like, what will our conversations even be?
Because the only thing I've talked about for 4 years is Donald Trump.
My entire personality is hating Donald Trump. What am I supposed to do?
What is the news even going to be about now?
I am really worried for Rachel Maddow. Like, what is she even going to talk about?
That's why on November 3rd, I'll be worried.
But I'll really be worried about my favorite villain disappearing.
Like, if they replace the Joker with Batman's butler, Alfred. Sure, Gotham would be more stable, but I'd rather watch the Joker blow up a hospital.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it totally would. Could you imagine that, though? Like, if you need the boogeyman. And both sides have found out who their boogie people are, right? Like, who's the boogie? I got to say boogie people, because can't say boogeyman anymore, because people are like, oh, my God, your gender, the way that you've attacked gender is wrong. So, but what happens? The joke about that, but, like, what's late night going to be like? Because eventually, people are going to get bored with Trump, and they'll go away. Their hope is he sticks around, and we'll talk about that, because they even pointed out in this.
And then I remembered that even if he loses, Trump isn't going away.
Yeah, if anything, he's going to get more vocal.
And angrier.
And crazier.
And with all his crimes, there's bound to be a trial at some point. And maybe Trump will represent himself in court. Okay, I got to stop getting my hopes up.
And then, who knows, maybe Donald and Ivanka will run together in 2024.
What is wrong with you?
Bro, I was just throwing it out there.
Now it's going to happen, and I'm going to hate you for it.
Would be hilarious, though.
Would be. You never know in this day and age. But I just, like, what happens? And I'm curious, like, for all of you guys out there who live with like all of this stuff, who love and eat, breathe, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to, did he start a movement that you feel you need to carry the baton for? But late night's going to be so boring. You're not going to make fun of Biden. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to not having chaos and craziness. But we do every once in a while want a little hot sauce. That's right. It's like every once in a while we're like, I like a little hot sauce with this. I have no idea what like Morning Joe's going to look like at all. Saturday Night Live, are you going to pick on Joe? Well, you could pick on Joe, but you're going to need the villain. And who's the next villain? Because this is the way it works is the Republicans are always the villains. There's not a good Republican out there. They're always bad. They're always the villain. And the left is seen as the righteous. Right? Their morals are superior. Their disdain and hate for you is superior because it's done in the right way. But is it funny? Is it interesting? I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hillary, how would you have done in this situation with COVID?
Do you think a woman president in the United States would handle the pandemic better?
I have no doubt, especially if it were me.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course you would have. You absolutely would have. Because, yes.
I was born for that. I mean, that's why I knew I'd be a good president. I was ready for crises and emergencies, and I would have done what you see these women leaders doing. You listen to the science, you bring in people in an open, inclusive way, you communicate constantly, you make the case by explaining why what you're doing is in the long-term interest, not only of health, but also of the economy. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind at all that I would have stepped up to that crisis.
I just want to let you know, Producer Phil, I have no doubt in my mind that if I was quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks a few years ago, that I would have won the game for us by not passing the ball and handing it off to Marshawn Lynch for him to run it into the end zone. There is no doubt about that based on hindsight.
No doubt at all.
No doubt at all. Hindsight's a great thing. Hindsight trading. We call yesterday's action. It's a question about the whole thing with COVID, right? Because you hear about this. And the question that I've always had to people who say, well, we should have done this, we should have done that. I ask them, do you blame Trump, or is there personal responsibility and responsibility of your governor when it comes to how things have gone in your state? And the reason for that is this is a scientist, Peter Hotz, talking about the difference of way things have broken down from a non-federal way all the way down.
Well, it's tough because we have no national response. It's always been all year the states on their own, and with the federal government providing useful and important backup support for manufacturing of PPE and ventilators, but it was never enough. We needed the full force of the federal government. And, you heard Mark Meadows over the weekend say there's no national plan. It's basically business as usual, essentially leaving it up to the states, and then many states in turn are leaving it up to the individuals to make their own decisions. So it's a scary scenario.
Yeah, but not really. Look, your states are your home. That's who knows you best. They live there. They're around the people. They know what they need the most. Your municipalities, your counties, your mayors in the cities that you live in, all the way up to your state government, and they need to ask the federal government for some help. But the reality is, it's not a one size fit all. You can't shut the entire country down if 3 states are having an outbreak and everybody else really isn't. That's nuts to think that you would do something like that. We can't just have a one-size-fits-all. And the beauty of our democratic republic is that we have 50 individual states that are able to act in their way. Maybe your governor has failed miserably. Maybe your governor has done good. Maybe they've overdone it. Maybe they've underdone it. But some of the responsibility belongs to the states as well as the federal side, and some of it is on us. Shouldn't, we put ourselves in situations that we shouldn't have put ourselves in. We didn't listen to some of the science, and maybe we over-listened in some other ways. And some of it's on the fact that every day we hear something new. You shouldn't wear this. You shouldn't do this. No, you can't catch it from here. Well, you might be able to catch it from here. We're not quite sure. It's frustrating. It is. It's not all the feds. It's not all the states. And it's not all the individuals. But every one of them has a large part to play in this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I do want to hear from you. Are you going to give Biden a chance if he wins? And if Trump wins, are you going to say, all right, you got 4 years to prove yourself, or is it going to be the same old, same old? AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, the fastest growing over 50 organization in the country, out there lobbying on your behalf for things like Social Security and Medicare, making sure it doesn't go anywhere. On top of that, they're fighting to make sure your First Amendment and Second Amendment are there and protected. They do a great job at that. Plus, they got benefits that are huge, massive benefits, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so much more. It's awesome. Join today. Join the fight with AMAC and take advantage of all of these amazing benefits. Go to amac.us/Chad, amac.us/ to join today, amac.us/Chad. It is so inexpensive, and I'm telling you guys right now, the benefits are huge. amac.us/Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. I do it every single year. I count it down. I give you the best horror movies of all time based on everything that's out there, and I think you'll enjoy this. We're going to do it. Number 4, Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Every single Halloween, I like to roll out my favorite horror movies, the movies that have left an indelible impression on me who loves horror movies, but also as a fan of the genre itself. I simply call this my countdown.
Now it's time for Chad's Evil Countdown. The best horror movies of all time. Can you handle it? Are you afraid? You should be.
So let's take a look today. Friday the 13th. Now, since Friday the 13th first arrived, there's been 1,000 different adaptations, sequels. I mean, he's gone on Jason to take on the likes of Manhattan. He was going to take on L.A. at one point, take on the Crips and the Bloods, and he's even gone to space. But the original movie is spectacular. The original movie is one of the, I always tell everybody, it's one of the great horror movies of all time because of the twists and the turns. And you go back and you look at it, because we think Jason's in the movie. Here's the reality. Jason's in the movie for 1 second. No. Spoiler alert. The killer is his mother, seeking revenge. Played by Betsy Palmer, who was a respected, theater actress and a respected TV actress. But when she did the movie, she thought it was going to be a flop. She did. She thought it was going to be an absolute flop. But it turned out to be anything but a flop. And as we all know, the ominous music, all of those things.
11. 12. Friday, the 13th. You may only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday, the 13th.
So the movie itself cost about $500,000, made enormous amounts of money that you could not believe. Sean Cunningham wrote and directed the movie. It was just one of those amazing films at the time that changed a lot of stuff. And he since obviously went on to have multiple sequels. It also gave young Kevin Bacon his first movie role. He went on to do some big stuff as well. And I love it. It's just one of those great movies. And the music, if you listen to it, it is kill, 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 ma, ma, ma. Kill, ma. Kill mother, basically. Because mom was getting revenged. Great movie. Friday the 13th, the original 1980 version, is movie number 4 on the Chad Benson Show. Scary Countdown. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.